Hi, my first grade friends. Happy asynchronous day. We are just chugging along, which means we are moving forward, slowly but surely, day by day, with our handwriting and our ABC packets. So even though you are done with your math packet, let's see what you have going on in your alphabet packet and your handwriting booklet today, because we are very close to the end. We are coming up to that last chunk of our alphabet, which will be a lot of fun, because then we'll get to focus on things like Raz Kids, Epic, phonics, and of course our handwriting booklet for a little while longer. And maybe we'll even do more writing in our asynchronous days as well, which would be amazing. Okay, let's see what pages you're doing today. Let's go. Okay, in my handwriting book today, I want to focus on both straight lines and some curved lines. Now you can see today we have the letter B, both lowercase and uppercase, and you'll also be doing the letter P, which is basically an upside down B or an upside down D. Now P's, B's, D's, Q's, G's, all of those letters look so similar. And really the only way you can tell the difference is the way that they're facing, if they're going up or going down, if they maybe have a little curved end to them. So you have to be very careful. When it comes to those letters, I would totally take your time practicing them. Or maybe have a pet grown-up say, write the letter P. You have to see if you can write it. Write the letter G. So that way you can really practice not only seeing the difference, but in your writing, making sure that you write the difference. Because the last thing you want is to be putting a P where your G should be, and then your words that you write in your writer's notebook will completely throw off your story. So we can't have that. So that's why today you're focusing on lowercase and uppercase, B and P. Let's look at them. So make sure you're practicing with your holding your pencil nice and sharp, nice and straight. And you start from the top to the bottom. Always start from the top to the bottom, especially when you're doing lines like this. And then your curve is either an O that you connect to your line, or you can do your line down and a backwards C. So it's kind of a backward C, but it's a forward curve. So it's a straight down line, and people maybe want to do a full circle. Or you do a straight down line. Excuse me, it's a little wobble. Oh, let's just ignore that. Straight down line, and then you have a backwards curve like this. B has the belly. That's how you can remember which way B is facing. So straight down line and a backwards curve. Now, like I said, people like to do the circle or people like to do the backwards C, whichever works for you. I personally like to do the backwards C. That way I know exactly how much room I have and how big or small my belly of my B needs to be. Get it? Do you have an uppercase or a lowercase b in your name? I don't. I have a lowercase d, so not to be confused with its cousin b. But if you do, go ahead and circle it. Let's see, do we have anyone? Jacob! Yeah, Jacob has a lowercase b. Good for you, Jacob. Look at you go. Let's see, does anyone have an uppercase b? Liam does. Blake? I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So really only Liam needs to make sure he's a professional at the uppercase B. So starting from the top, going down, we always do that line. Now uppercase B has not only a big belly, it has a big head as well, and that head's sitting on its belly. So you got that big belly, and they're facing just the way lowercase b was facing. They're facing all the other letters that have yet to come. So I want you practicing your uppercase B, making sure that you leave space in between the words. That way you're not writing it a million times. And also don't write it that quick. Take your time so that you can have something that is just as gorgeous as an actual computer typing it out. And now you do not have to write your name down here, though it's getting a little easier now that we're towards the middle and end of our packet. So if you want, because Liam, for example, has an uppercase B, maybe he does want to circle it. So you can practice it now, but remember, it's easier when it's on the flat surface, so don't worry about that. Let's look at the cousin of B, the upside down one. It's lowercase p. Starting from the midline now and going down below that baseline, you'll do your straight line. And just like B, you have that same backwards C, or that same forward curve. Some like to do the drop down, and then they do their circle, and it connects to their P. Some do the drop down, and they do the backwards C, kind of like the belly, right? Whichever one's easier for you. I kind of like to do the backwards C more than the circle, just because it helps me kind of connect to that line rather than have my letter look like this. Because then I have no idea what I just did there. Do you have a lowercase p in your name? Does anyone? JP has an uppercase. Parth has an uppercase. So does Ishan. One day, my friends, one day we'll get those lowercase p's in our names. But let's practice our uppercase P now. Uppercase B is just B, but got rid of its belly. So I don't know, maybe it went on a diet, ate so many salads. Whatever's going on with P here. Uppercase P has that line from the top to the bottom. And instead of the belly at the bottom, it has that big head up on top. And it's that backwards curve. This time you definitely don't want to do a circle because that'll get confusing. Do the line top to the bottom and do that big backwards curve. Make sure your backwards curve doesn't drop down past that midline because then you're making an uppercase D and we can't have that. Take your time with your handwriting because I promise if you do, it will not only make your work easier to read, it'll make it easier for you to write and quicker for you to write. Now, let's look at your ABC packet and see what 2 letters you're doing today. Whew, we are close to the end, my friends. We are close to the end. You're going past P, you're going past Q. You just did S and T yesterday. Well, now it's off to U. And I don't mean U for you. I'm talking about the letter U. U is for unicorn or maybe umbrella. The letter U looks a little bit messed up on my page, so I'm going to ask my pet grown-up, which is really just me right now, and I'm going to trace with a dark marker. Hopefully I have a really dark one. And I'm going to trace exactly what the letters look like. That way, when I'm practicing my handwriting, I can have an easier time. The capital U looks like that big skateboard ramp. You already did this in your handwriting packet, so it's kind of funny. And lowercase u looks just like its mommy, but it goes below that midline, but not below the baseline, and it has that little leg sticking out right there. Practice your uppercase U, but make sure you're not going down with a sharp end because then it's a V. And practice your lowercase u, but make sure you're not having that little leg stick up too much because then it becomes a W and we can't have that. Today for the letter U, meaning unicorn, you have 1, 2, 3 words that you need to go hunting for. Let's see. Umbrella. Nope, we all know that's supposed to be an umbrella. Here, let's fix that. Ta-da! Umbrella, vase, van, unicycle, tree, and ukulele. I love ukuleles. Well, which 3 words here start with the letter U? Sometimes it might not sound like it starts with that letter, but it is written like it. So that's something you really need to make sure you're looking for. Just like when we had the letter O and it started with O, but it read with a P, so it was possum, but it had an O, so it was an O word. Writing can be very confusing. Let's look at the letter V. V is for van. U, V, and W are very similar words, or excuse me, letters. V is for van, which is a bigger version of a car, and you can fit a lot of things in there. It's kind of like a small bus. Make sure you get your marker because I have no idea what V is supposed to look like, so that's why I need to ask my pet grown-up. Lowercase v and uppercase V look exactly the same, just one's bigger, and that's why it's called the uppercase or the capital letter. Trace it from the top. You're doing a forward diagonal line, and then you're going up with a forward diagonal line. Same thing with lowercase v. I like to connect it in one stroke because otherwise, if I do it like this, maybe I won't connect as much. Make sure that you're not doing 2 V's because that makes a W. And make sure you're not doing a curved V because that makes a U, and we can't have that. I can't wait to see what kind of van you have. Mine will have flowers on it. And maybe I'll give it eyelashes. I know a lot of people like to do that. And maybe I'll give it a cape. It's a superhero van. How fun. You have 1, 2, 3 words that you're searching for today that begin with the letter V. You have umbrella, spelled correctly now, vase, unicycle, vine, violin, and tree, though that kind of looks like broccoli, huh? You need to cut out and glue on these 3 words. By the end of our packet, basically your entire packet should be cut off and be this size. So rather than having it be an entire thing of paper, it'll look like this. Isn't that kind of fun? And you'll get to see your collection of alphabet words, which you can always look at when you're doing your writing to get help on what things should look like. Okay, my first grade friends, those are the 2 pages in your handwriting and the 2 pages in your ABC book for this week. You have your 2 from yesterday, so make sure you did those if you didn't already. That way you're not falling behind and you're sticking side by side with me. We are a few letters away. We're already at V, so we have W, X, Y, and Z. We'll finish next week with our reading packets, and we have a little bit more time left in our booklet. But don't worry, we'll have some more fun reading activities coming your way. I'll see you this afternoon, my friends. Bye.